sell Jetstream 31 throughout the world. So we must capture world attention in the first instance, and the way you do that is by the extravagant launch that we're engaged in. That's from one point of view, which is a market-driven point of view. And the other point of view is if the program's going to be successful, you've got to have the whole of the Prestwick workforce, 2,500 people, committed to the success of this new product, because their survival, their future depends on its success. And the best way we can get them committed is to share in the launch, and the ceremony itself involves the people to an enormous extent, much more than any other previous launch of an aircraft, and we are delighted to involve the people at Prestwick in that process.
If there is a central theme to the whole event, it is about saying to our workforce what a hell of a job you've done in this, and about saying to the outside world, look and see what our workforce can achieve. Look at how wonderful they are. Look at what they've been able to push into incredibly short timescales, because from the decision to launch the Jetstream 41 project through to rollout of the prototype aeroplane being less than 2 years is, to my knowledge, an industry record for manufacturing a first-off aeroplane of Jetstream 41's type. Direction from my boss, I had virtually total autonomy. I must pay particular tribute to others, nevertheless. For example, those within Mercer Fraser who are consultants to me on the project. On the in-house side, people like Fiona Ritchie, our public affairs manager, John Dixon, our security manager, Ian Black, communications officer, and a whole host of other people have really delivered on this.
2, 1, action.
As the national anthem ends, naturally everyone will take their seats, and the theatre lighting will change to signify that the show is about to begin. Perhaps at this juncture it would be worth taking a moment or two just to cover one or two of the technicalities of how the show will be run, how the film will be made. First of all, at this point in the proceedings, we are about to run The Welcome, a film that is a fanfare. The host British Aerospace Airlines division is saying thank you for coming and welcome. And it will be a film that they are about to watch, not a video. Video has many advantages. We hear a great deal of it these days. But one of the big disadvantages is that it doesn't allow for large screen picture quality. And the screen you see behind me will measure over 40 feet wide. Clearly, video won't do. We have to discard it. We are going to use 35mm film stock, as they do in cinemas. The picture provides a rich, colourful, high-definition image, and for that reason, the whole of the film is going to be shot on this stock from word go. A lot of work is going into producing that programme now.
We go to Woodford, we do a briefing, we get airborne, do the pretty shots above the clouds.
Yes.
En route to Scotland.
Yes.
And then get
the Scottish
shots
stuff
with
up there.
The background, the ground in the background. The whole thing has been very confused up to now.
Yes.
People really knowing what's going on and where and why.
Yeah.
Right.
Dave Maslin's effectively trying to be show director and film director, and it's too much.
Right.
And it's my fault. I have excuses that his company was going to be in a bigger shape by now, and it hasn't worked out.
Right.
So I don't want to relieve him of responsibilities in such a way that it weakens him and he makes him feel as if he's failed. But the stark reality is we can't push him any harder. He's buckling, and I think the pressures are going to increase. So we've got to make a get out for him.
Okay, what I don't want to do, I don't really want anybody to be upset by what, I mean, there are obviously upsets, but I don't want him to be upset
No,
by what's
I know.
happening.
Yes.
And I don't want to make it look snide, I don't want to make it look secret.
We have to make a decision, I think, before we go back into that meeting, so that I can announce it quite clearly. This is what we're doing. Now, they may not all like it, but at least we can be positive.
Who isn't going to like it?
I think the way it's done is going to be a concertina effect. And on two fronts, I've been aware that we have really been applying far too much pressure on poor David. He's been a linchpin to this whole project for getting on, I don't know how many months, a long, long time. And I would admit here and now that I've been guilty, really, of expecting David to carry too much. The project, as you know, is ostensibly for the rollout of Jetstream 41 on the 27th of March. Looking closely at the project, you have a rollout event which is broken down into many constituent parts, ranging from restaurant and catering, security, right the way through to care of the delegates in the hall, and the film, the show, the ballet, and so on. We are addressing just at this moment the film particularly, and David, though, has been wearing two hats because he's done a great deal of work on the show as technical director for the show, as well as the film.
Originally, the idea was to produce some music which would complement some of the other pieces of music already in existence that are being used for the Rollout show on the 27th of March. But I felt that I wanted to go a couple of stages beyond that and put together a piece of music which I hope will reflect the feeling of the day and will also stand the test of time in terms of being a reminder for employees and other people who are present on the day.
The concept for the show was really originated by Mr. MacDonald, who's the director and general manager at Prestwick. He was intent on seeing in the show the blend of Scottish traditional music, modern music, and the various elements that made up the show itself, such as the pre-show entertainment, the pipers and the fiddlers, the different films that were in the programme that describe British aerospace, the history of Prestwick, and perhaps my favourite, the People's Champion. And of course the ballet, which was unique in a show that launched an aircraft. And he was really determined to see the show reward the workforce for their efforts. Prestwick had come through and still is in a time of survival. But for the first time, because of Jetstream 41, we've been able to look perhaps 5, 10 years down the road instead of 12 or 24 months. And this is a major milestone in the history of Prestwick. So this is an opportunity to say to the workforce, your efforts should be and are being rewarded. We have a lot more road to travel, but we're getting there, and it's being recognised, perhaps for the first time in Prestwick's history. One of the most challenging aspects of this particular show has been the thousands of elements that go to make the programme up. For example, one of those elements has been that many of my colleagues here at Prestwick are involved in the show itself. And we've had to think most carefully to be able to build in contingency plans in case one of them takes stage fright or falls ill minutes or perhaps hours before the show begins. And this has made for an interesting challenge. They are professionals who build aircraft, and they have risen admirably to the task of becoming actors in a very emotional occasion.
I'm in the haul-out team, which is, once the curtain's raised, we'll be hauling through the aircraft, Jetstream 41, into the main arena. I think as the morning progresses, the adrenaline will start flowing, you get a bit more excited, and butterflies will come, and it'll be a bit hectic, people dashing everywhere. But it'll all settle down once it starts. You get shown the video of what's being proposed to happen. Once I watched it all the way through, it felt quite excited, a bit enthusiastic, because it looks very spectacular, as though it's going to be a really special day. I didn't think I would actually think that way before it, but once you see the work that's been put into it, and that was only a model, so it looks as though it's going to be terrific on the actual day. I haven't seen number 38 since the contractors moved in, so tonight will be my first viewing of it. So it should be a big difference to the hangar I know. There are big screens where we're going to be behind the show, so we'll be able to keep an eye on things as the show progresses. We won't miss anything.
I remember sitting watching the Jetstream 31 rollout, and I'd only been back at Prestwick just over a year, and sat with some important customers and some important suppliers and feeling very proud and a very important person. I suddenly turned and looked on my right-hand side, and there was all my colleagues from Prestwick standing roped off, to some extent like cattle, all standing trying to see over each other's heads.
Our Director and General Manager, Alan MacDonald, recollects saying to himself, if I ever get to be General Manager of this business, and if there's a new aeroplane rolled out whilst I'm General Manager, I'm going to make sure that credit is given where credit's due, and that everybody in this business who's contributed to the new aeroplane will be present at the birth of the new aeroplane. And that's something that Alan's obviously carried with him now for the thick end of 10 years.
The cost per head,
Approximately at this stage.
approximately $5.25 a head.
Yeah.
We have £110 of smoked salmon at £11.50 a pound. Is one of our highest outlays. Is £1,265 for the function.
To buy in the salmon.
To buy in the salmon.
Yeah.
Asparagus tips is another 260.
Yeah.
The lamb now on £1,000. Strawberries 500.
And where are the strawberries coming from?
Shield Nest, hopefully, but they'll be either
What
Kenyan,
country?
they'll either be Kenyan,
Yeah.
Dutch imported, or New Zealand strawberries.
Uh-huh.
And the price for these will obviously drop as March comes along, but I've costed it in at
Sure.
today's price.
And what are you going to, how much cost is for those?
£500 for the
£500
strawberries.
for the
yes.
strawberries, cash.
The other, that's all the high cost items. The rest.
Do you have a total cost there, Jim?
We do. Total cost for the 798 is £4,053.76, plus the staffing and the packed lunches or snacks for the kids that are arriving.
Yeah.
Which I reckon somewhere in the region of 10,000.
somewhere in the region of 10,000.
Yeah, that's what's going to cost the garden merchant to learn the function. That's correct, Jim. Okay, thanks a lot, Jim. We'll move on to point 3 on the agenda.
Because they wanted something Scottish, something that indicated that the workers and the skills existed in Scotland, and the concept originated in Scotland, we thought we'd include the folk group, the Whistle Binkies, in it. Scottish dance music and Scottish slow airs as well lend themselves very well to physical expression. It's been a slow process of working with the folk group, working with the string ensemble. The harp, in fact, is doing a bit of both classical and folk. So today we're uniting the elements together and seeing how it works.
You three look after the boobies.
Sorry. Dizzy. We've got the 3-course menu, plus the coffee and petit fours. We've got an hour to do it from 1:15. It's scheduled 2:15. Started at 600, it's now up to 800. We have to serve those in 1 hour. It's going to be quite a fast service, and obviously there's going to be people there it's a bit slower than the top table. Has been advised to us through the Lord Lieutenant that because of the tight schedule, these people will not be allowed to finish their meal, unfortunately. That will be lifted away from them.
It's astonished me just how much people enthused about this project have been prepared to do for free. A good example of that is our caterers on site, Gardner Merchant, who are a division within the Truss House 40 group. And they're supplying the lunch for free, which I think is tremendous, just because they are so committed to British Aerospace at Prestwick. They are so honoured to have the opportunity of preparing and serving lunch for royal guests. And there's been other examples of superb generosity, not just in the form of donations of bits and pieces of equipment and so on, but of people really being prepared to put themselves out and do things for really the love of British Aerospace Prestwick, the love of Jetstream, and the pride and joy of being associated with what's going to take place here on 27th March.
Anyone else
pass any points on the facilities?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One is, have we established when the plane is going to come out of the paint shop, and therefore a time with which we can start rehearsing with the plane? There was a nasty rumour that it might come out of the paint shop the day before, but technical rehearsals start 3 days before.
As I was led to believe, sometime or around the 22nd was neutered. But, of course, that will be dependent upon the build programme.
Right.
We currently have modified the paint facility to take the mock-up, and it's on its final coat, and only has the emblem to go in it then. And so it's capable of taking the Jetstream 41.
So if things run to plan, we don't have a problem.
Yeah, I cannot speak though for the building team.
The other thing that impacts
inches to clear it. Black light. Joe, 6 inches to clear it. 5 inches. Oh, come on. Inches. Straight up at that. Square up at that. Still clear here. Still clear here. Still clear. Still clear. Still clear.
If the plane's not ready, we've got a major problem. I believe until up to a day, even a couple of days before we start technical rehearsals, it will be in the paint shop. If there's any slippage at that stage, we're going to have problems because there's no point in rehearsing with the Jetstream 31. It's a totally different aircraft.
November 127 Golf Papa, 10 and tops. Are you familiar with the airspace site?
I'm not really. This is my first time in Prestwick.
Okay, the exit is at Link Tango, and we'll have a marshaller on our own stand. You'll see 2 Jetstreams parked up on the north side of the airfield.
Okay, so it'll be a left turn off the active one.
Affirmative. It'll be a left turn up Link Tango, and air traffic will give you progressive.
Golf Papa, right, thanks.
Clarification on that, Alan.
Well, I received at the end of last week a draft contract from International Management for Jackie Stewart, and we have requested an amendment to it, which is currently being carried out, and they'll send us a fresh draft. Basically, hitherto they were going to preclude us from in any way recording his appearance, which of course wouldn't suit our purposes.
No,
so that has been amended with no alteration to the fee. So I'm just waiting for that, but it's definite that he is attending. Yeah.
So you're quite happy with the way things are going then?
Sure. We have also now identified a number of the Prestwick employees who will take place in the show, and Darlene's been coordinating that, and Peter's been involved in a couple of training sessions with them already, so needless to say they've been sworn to secrecy.
Yeah. Any budding stars, are we?
I don't know, we need to ask Peter that.
Well, there's certainly plenty of enthusiasm, but necessarily so far we have not told them very much. So starting this week, I need to be very much more forthcoming, as I say, about the detail and the structure. But we are just waiting for clearance that it's permissible to do that.
Alright, we're getting a ramp out, guys.
command to steady the rope. And as I say steady the rope, then you bring it up to your hauling position. What we don't know, and we'll refine once we've got the 41 here, is whether you guys at the back are better with the rope on your shoulder or down at waist height. Because I'm concerned about you taking quite a bit of strain at that point, especially as you're fairly tall.
Hi, dear. It's just two you need, isn't it? 260, 375. Next. Donald.
Now, you podium people just do more or less what you see me trying to do with these guys this side. When I give the signal, I just want you to step forward. You imagine you're coming down now that you see come down like someone quite high up. You come down there, you will be in spotlight.
It has been suggested by the Lord Lieutenant that the Royal Party inspect the plane once it has been rolled out as part of the proceedings rather than after the proceedings, which gives us a couple of headaches in that obviously all the music's pre-recorded and working to time. And we just hope we can choreograph them to work to time, because the plan is now that at the end of the show, at the culmination, once the tableau has been formed, the Royal Party will come down and walk round this way, which will also be red carpeted, to this point where they will view the plane, and then round. Once they've done that, they will then exit via this route. When they get to about here, we hope to be able to persuade them to stop and turn and look back at the plane, which is the point when the show will climax, and that will be the finale, after which they will depart back into either this area or they'll continue straight through to that one.
So this is really our only chance, once she's come in, of picking her up, bringing her around, looking at the aircraft and back here. I wish you well with her turn and looks back at aircraft shot. We'll be there. We'll be there ready for it. But just somebody to remind her on the way.
Well, of course, originally,
turning and looking back.
Originally she wasn't written into the show, but the Lord Lieutenant has suggested that would be a nice way of doing it. So we have to bounce this one off Sir Robert on Monday and see how that goes down.
Is there anything wrong with her going to look at it after the show's finished? The whole thing has been built towards, I mean, as you say in your video, it's family, people orientated, and the show isn't finished yet, and this party of 5 folk are wandering about, and still the thumping music's going and the lights are flashing. Maybe she might feel a bit embarrassed about it.
Well, maybe. I mean, it would suit us perfectly if Sir Robert said, no, we don't want that, because it does give us a lot of other problems, like timing, for example.
To a certain extent, we take for granted the scale and the excitement of the actual event itself. And what we want to do is say, well, we've got that. That's great. That really is the program. But we want to be therefore able to show what the effect on the whole Prestwick area actually is going to be, what it's been already, what it actually means for the employees, for the generation of the industry. Because most people see Prestwick as an area that's, that's time was in the past. I think people will be genuinely rocked back on their heels to realise that something of this scale is based in that area. And it's very easy to forget that when you're so involved in doing it. So we'll certainly want to do that.
Once this hangar is empty, then what will start to happen on the 16th of March, the contractors for building seating, stage set, those sort of elements of the show will move in at night, and they'll be working 24 hours a day to be able to put in 3,500 seats, a royal box of course, a command post for the crew, which totals at the moment some 130 people, and of course the stage set itself, behind which, and this is a secret at the moment, the plane will sit.
employed sort of as a bit of an afterthought, to be honest. A lot of companies or a lot of situations, they don't realise that rigging companies are needed early on in the game plan. Because you approach a lighting company, a sound company, a scenery company, you don't often think, oh, we better get, you know, some riggers along as well. So we came along a bit late in the day, but fortunately it's an easy building to work in, and we've been helped greatly by the structural engineers for British Aerospace, who they haven't given us any problems at all. So we came along, we took a brief from everybody, and then did a drawing, worked out all the weights, presented it to structural engineers and to the client, and turned up basically. It's not quite as easy as that, because every job is different. And something like this, you come to a venue like this where they're not used to having this type of system brought in. I mean, there's a lot of problems because the local people don't understand really what you're going to do. And they see you and think of you as rock and roll people, and they think you've got long hair and all that sort of thing, and you don't know what you're doing, and it takes quite a time to persuade them that you do actually know what you're doing. And that's one of the hardest things, I suppose.
As far as the show is concerned, the Rollout show, we're bringing in a guy called Robert Lipcrane, who is a first-class production engineer. And he will, working along with the Radcliffe Associates, he is actually putting schedules together to get all those people to come into the hall at the right time from the 16th of March onwards and start assemblies. And I must say, in just the short time he's been involved with it, he's doing very well.
He's from HMS.
Oh, right.
They've been the best set of humpers that anybody's seen.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you about that. Yeah, we've incurred the odd extra little cost here.
Real praise has been given to you guys. So thanks very much. Thank you very much. Glad to do it.
There are certain things, characteristics that you require of a steward. The obvious one is the personality. So you want to pick the steward if possible. You approach the person and ask if in fact they would be kind enough to be stewards. You want a sort of outgoing personality. You want a person that's relaxed with people, that projects, if you like, the best image, is reassuring to people, doesn't fluster or panic in a normal situation at all, and in any other situation it could indicate they would cope quite admirably with it. The other important thing, of course, is to identify them. Have them in identifiable clothing, and of course, as you probably know, we have taken that on board. The stewards will be in very smart pullovers and appropriate dress for the occasion. What it will do is it will highlight who they are, and will indicate exactly where they are, where they're positioned. Ready?
Not only been a personal challenge and achievement, it's been very much a team effort. No one person can do this. It's involved with a lot of guys all working very hard, all with a common aim, and that's basically to get the aircraft out on the date that we said it would go out, and we have achieved that. We've got it to the standard that we required at that particular time, and for that I'm very proud of the guys who worked along with me.
Rob, could you just not let any more sound checks go ahead for 5 minutes? I just want to talk to the people that are patiently waiting here. Cheers. Robert, can
really turned the bloody top. Thanks a lot, Robert. Right, we'll try again. Appreciate you coming along. You're probably finding it quite interesting. We're going to tell you a little bit more about what's going on and your role in it, which you already know a fair bit about. As usual at this state of play, these things run a little late, and it means keeping you waiting for a while. So we're glad that you're patiently sitting there. In a short while, the guys on the cherry picker working above, putting up some extra gantry, will be finished. And also some engineering work going on the podiums, or the podias. You remember I've described those to you. Some of those, or some of you will be standing on those, will also be completed. We will then ask the haulers to come forward and we'll try out the ropes, the new ropes.
I don't really know what I have to do yet because they've only told us what we need to know at the time, so it'll really be tomorrow before I find out, but I assume that at one point I come and join James, the children and I walk out, we meet up with James right at the end. Jamie and Kelly, they're quite excited because they've had to keep it secret. They've been told to keep it secret from all their friends, and I think they're enjoying doing that.
If he puts that round like that, then you've got a problem. If it comes this way, if it went the other way, you'd be all right.
Well, we can straighten it up once the machine's got round. Once it's turned, you can straighten this up, this bar, if this is what you're worried about.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
no
you wouldn't
problem.
get away with that, you see.
No, but that's
Yeah.
not the problem. What we've got to do is, once it's got into position, while the music's still just...
If you want, just choreograph that back into place.
Yeah,
then it's
we
fine.
can do that, can't you?
Well, you can do it if you want the full disconnected.
How long will it take to disconnect just so we don't have any extraneous noises?
Leave
I
it.
think it's
Leave
easy.
it.
Just leave it at the front.
Front's all right, but if you put it there, you see, what would happen is all these people would have to jump over it, so it has
Right,
for a fire escape, so we'd have to take
So
that
just
out.
bring it round square, which will make it look dressed as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's assume that we got it back in position. We've got to go. Yeah. Okay, that's one problem.
That's fine. Now, therefore,
We
your
need
limit
to
is
unlock it,
your limit is there. If you leave the bar in. Having said that, if we're going to pass it down,
It should be unlatched. It should be.
Can you
Is it
get a
quick
quick
to
release?
unlatch? Does that unlatch?
Oh. I don't know if it's like it at the moment, Ian, but it's going to be, yeah.
Oh, fine, okay.
And once it's off, several factors to consider. When you come in here, we are no longer in a factory, we're in a theatre. There are nevertheless things above us, things on the floor, so always take care. Look where you're walking, particularly if you see something a bit interesting and you want to hair off the other one, then remember that there's things here that really we'd better not touch because they may just be dangerous or we could easily break them.
Majesty, Your Royal Highness, my lords, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce to you the Scottish Band, under the direction of Mr. Kenneth Burke, and accompanied by the Glasgow Festival Strings. The Whistle Pinkies, that's a good one. Now where did we find that one? The Whistle Pinkies, a unique combination of Scottish traditional music with the classic honours. Spirit, flight. Now that's one you threw in nicely. Let me read that again. the whistle binkies.
The rest of them today, which we don't require them.
Which ones? The ones at the back?
Yeah, the ones on the 4 hours. We have 4 on these aisles.
Well, they sit down and shut up, don't they? I mean, they're not much choice.
They were told they were required for the end of the show to do something where they stand up and march down or what? Or are they just dressing?
No, they stand up. Well, I saw them doing it during rehearsals. They stand up. La 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 la. At the end, when the piper at the front reaches his position, as I understood it.
Oh, that's not the end. We're talking about when everybody's down. I understood it was when all the families are down, that, you know, they were part of the scene there.
No.
That is not so.
No. Because that would be disastrous, because that would cut across the tween.
Then there's been a breakdown in what was communicated to the senior piper.
Well, that's unusual.
Is it?
All right. No, there's been apparently a communications breakdown.
No.
Yes.
Not surely. All right. So I'll get them there, but what about the
Strange.
photographers? Who's allocated the photographers? Is it
Robert Gillis.
Quite different again, but it's quite odd. It's so weird to do the curtains at the back. You lose your focus to do the, you know, at the very end, pitch black.
Find a kid in all this?
No, I'm not asking you to. I just wondered if you knew who she was. Have you seen her?
Who's she with? Myra?
No, I don't know. But I've got to find you.
Hold on. Before you go, let me get hold of Darling. She'll know. Have you
Darling
checked
doesn't know. Darling sent me to find you.
You've just come from Darling?
Yeah.
Because she was looking for you just now.
That's right. Well, she found me. I spoke to her.
Well, Fiona's probably in that group over there. There she is. Fiona! Hi.
Right.
Yeah, why don't these podias work? The power drain's so great that they're not working. That's Simon's story. The generators are full up and they haven't even started the show.
4 days they've been working on those things. Get some decent engineers in, kick that lot out.
Hold on.
This is intolerable, it works. The motor was too small, that's the trouble. It's obvious it's too small.
Okay.
We've got to go, we've got to start.
Simon, can you tell me why these podias aren't working?
We've got to go.
We've got 15 minutes and these things aren't working. We've been working on them 5 days.
Sound like coffee grinders.
They've what? They cut through the cables.
Oh.
Being pushed around. So every time we push them around, the cables are going to cut then. Can you come down now? Thanks, bye. He's on his way down now.
That is just bad design, and they're useless.
Jim, did you hear about the new Jackie Stewart prompt?
No.
Oh, he doesn't want to use Welcome, Your Majesty, or Thank You, Your Majesty.
Okay, let him use what he wants. What do you want to use?
Double Scotch, and Alan's approved it with A&D. Just bring you up to speed.
Okay. Yeah, sure. No problem. I want to word with you privately, Jim, if I may.
Indeed.
They told me that it was 12 meters by 14. Then they changed it 2 days ago to 8 meters. They told me it was 8 meters by 10. And then when we got here, they had those monitors on, which makes it much narrower. And we've got to take the monitors as the edge of the stage. So it's really not that big, you know, when you actually come to dance on it.
Your attention, please. We'll be going for another run through in 10 minutes' time. 10 minutes' time.
4:15, 4:30. Well, hopefully 4:30 then. We're aiming to start in 5-10 minutes.
That's great, as long as it's...
You want this to get finished before people arrive?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, can we have any delaying tactics if we're still going at that time or not?
I'll take them through the back end.
Can security sort of be vetting people if needed?
Yes, I'll take them into the Showland restaurant area.
Fine,
We can try and finish.
that's great.
And then that's you finished with the...
That's us finished.
Stage.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
So then the people can be dispatched off. I don't want people to see the scale of things until tomorrow.
Well, that's fine. I mean, as long as someone can have some delaying tactics.
I'll handle that, as long as I know you're going to start.
Right, you will hear music. The music will be going through, and you can tell them that we're recording, we're doing anything, like, you know, keep them out.
Right, excellent.
Because we've only got one door that they can come into. I think the royal door is still locked.
Yeah, and I'll be with them.
Fine.
Thanks,
We'll
thank
start
you.
as soon as we can, no problem. Thank you.
When you're so emotionally involved, the romanticism of the industry is something that can take over. However, I and my management committee team are realists in the sense that we enjoy the romanticism for sure. Why not enjoy what you do? But I think that anyone who knows me well knows ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm a hard-nosed businessman. My primary objective, quite frankly, is to make a return on the investment that's been made in us here at Prestwick. How we do that is involving ourselves in the aerospace industry, and so being involved in that industry, I'm going to enjoy it.
Jeannie, get up.
Jeannie, hurry up.
Calling him, calling him.
Some of it, but not very much. How are you lot this morning?
Well, we are now just waking up.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say this morning.
Couple in the boats and pile up the plates there. Then you're going back out that door there.
We've already had one major disaster. The refrigerated van has went skew whip and frozen everything that's in it. So the potatoes we had prepared for today are ruined, the carrots we had prepared for today are ruined, all the mineral water that come in is all frozen with the obvious problems that these present. We now are in the process of cooking fresh items to replace these, and that's the only problem we've had up to now, but I'm sure there'll be more to follow.
Somewhere. No, it's not here, I don't think. Unless it's out of order. Did you get your shoes down? Yeah.
It's very smart.
Our job is to make sure that all these things take place in a safe, sound atmosphere and environment where people know that the company, British Aerospace, are looking after their needs in terms of comfort, safety, the stewarding aspect, first aid, free passage, free access, and in an emergency, immediate evacuation, Lord forbid, should that come to pass.
Right, the 4 people that are coming in here, right, are going to come in while the rest are clearing the starters.
Right.
So that gives you a couple of minutes to say, right, who's for key here, right? At the front of that, one up there, one there, one there, get in the front of the queue. I, behind there, J behind there, behind there, behind there.
Just to give you an indication, guide as to what we're doing, and in about 30 minutes from then we start the show itself, okay? Once again, thank you all very much and have a good day, okay?
Just check the running order for my own benefit. It's the 100,000 Corner House jigs at Reeler the 51st, Irish jigs, and we'll finish with 8 some reels twice through. So we'll be getting the work to go on any minute now. Best of luck.
I always forget as well. 2 minutes time, line up. Thank you. Just do what the others do. You've got it there. It's a big day for you, Dad.
See if you can get over this. I don't know what arrangements.
All right, well, I mean, I told them the champagne and that, they said they'd like a redram. No redrams anyway. We don't get redrams.
11 o'clock we start the pre-show in Spain, okay? All right.
Splendid for us all. Prestwick's Day, it's your day, and you, your families, the children, have a great time. Thank you. I remember the story at Farnborough last year where some American colleagues I have joked with me that a competitor product was being launched, and the two presidents were attending, President of Brazil and the President of Argentina, and they inquired as how we planned to beat that. And I couldn't say any more than just give them a wink that we would do something that would certainly catch their attention. When Her Majesty agreed to come, we certainly knew that we had gone one better than the competition.
Her Majesty the Queen and the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, now leaving the Royal Aircraft. To be greeted on the tarmac by Colonel Sir Bryce Knox, the Lord Lieutenant of Ayrshire and Arran. Now a close-up view of the 430 school children from local area and other citizens who have gathered here to greet the Queen. Now being presented to Her Majesty are Professor Roland Smith, the Chairman of British Aerospace plc, and Mrs. Smith, and Mr. Alan MacDonald, the Director and General Manager of British Aerospace Prestwick Airlines Division, and Mrs. MacDonald.
Well, here we are now. We're supposed to be serving the Queen at 1:10 and we've just been told she's going to be approximately 20 minutes late. So obviously we've had to make alterations here, cool everything down, so it's not being overcooked. This is one of the things as a catering company we've got to put up with, because she's got a very tight schedule, and if she runs late, we're expected to make up the time if possible.
And now Her Majesty is leaving the exhibition and she is about to enter the auditorium.
I'll never get back into Christina. Never. Never. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, my Lords, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to British Aerospace, Commercial Aircraft Limited, Airlines Division, Prestwick. Today is not only a special day, but a unique one. The 27th of March, 1991, is the day in which the company's new airliner, Jetstream 41, is to be rolled out. Today is unique because several firsts will be recorded. For Scotland, the Jetstream 41 is the first all-new aircraft to be designed and manufactured in Scotland for more than 40 years. Sister aircraft, built here in Prestwick, the Jetstream 31, is already the world's leader in its class.
Best of luck.
Right,
I'll
thank
be
you.
out to see you.
Right,
Don't break too many. Yeah.
This business, despite its high technology image, I believe will continue to be a people business.
All due credit to the people here at Prestwick. They are the most adaptable, the most flexible people you could ever work beside.
The ceremony today is designed to acknowledge the diligence of everyone in the business who have not only contributed to the success of the Jetstream, but have laboured long and hard to develop this latest triumph. There are, however, others, equally important, who should be similarly recognised for their understanding, for their support and enthusiasm. They are the families.
Clap.
What did I think of the show? I thought it was absolutely tremendous, but then, well, you know, one expects it when you come up here.
Excellent. Excellent. First class. Wonderful production.
Good. It's a new musical.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Better than any Broadway show I've seen.
Brilliant. Very good. Excellent. Very professional.
I will go back and write how wonderful it was, and I'm so proud, and I cried like a baby.
Very impressive. Very impressive. If that's what it takes to sell Jetstreams 41, they'll be queuing up to buy them.
Delightful.
Marvellous.
Fantastic. Unbelievable.
Excellent.
Very good.
Excellent.
I'm in tears. What can I say? What can I say? It was all worthwhile. A lot of heartache, long hours, but I think it was worth it.
The last thing I need, guys, is a camera.
To be honest, Jim, if the show doesn't result in some handkerchiefs coming out and some tears of joy from our people in the audience, I'll be rather disappointed.
Well, I will feel exceptionally proud of our achievement. Certainly it's under 2 years since the project was launched. People felt we were setting ourselves a very fierce and demanding programme. I'll be proud that we've accomplished it. I'll be proud that so many friends from the international aviation industry have come along to share with us the day. I'll be proud that all my colleagues at Prestwick will be sitting alongside me, sharing the occasion. I'm extremely proud that Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh have graced us with their presence. I'm extremely proud. And at the end of the day, I'll be pleased if the whole event runs enormously successful. And once it's all over, I'll be also looking to get back into production and making sure we get a first flight not long after the rollout and get certification within the timescales we've set ourselves.